Hey everybody, and welcome to today's video where I am going to give you a demonstration on how to convert one of the pre-existing stock engines into the engine of your dreams. And today we are going to be converting a Kolarbi into a new engine. And if I remember correctly from the giant discussion we just had, it's the NK33. I'm 9% sure that's what it's called. And did I have it here? Yep. The NK33. And there's actually three variants here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the NV, the Kalari, we're going to convert the Kalari into the NK-33. And then for those who want to stick around, I'm going to show you how we can do some more advanced editing to convert the NK33, the same engine, into the NK33-1 and the NK43 and have it as a single unit engine. So, stick around because we're going to get more and more and more advanced as this stream goes on, and it should last about an hour to an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. That's the plan, because at some point I'll want to have some dinner. So let's get into this. So first of all, you do need to get the modding toolkit. If you do not know how, there is a link in the description. If you are watching on the replay, feel free to ask questions, but generally the link in the description is to the Discord server, which has the instructions there. I'm not going to cover on how to set this up, but it is not too difficult to do so. But once you have it all set up, you are faced with this Kolarbi engine. Now, there are a bunch of different engines in the stock game, as you can sort of see here, but I wanted to take one of the engines and I decided let's go with this little guy here because it's one of the smaller engines, and we're just going to make it bigger. Bigger. So let's start with this. Now, first of all, we don't actually want to do anything to the actual stock engines. While this doesn't actually load into the game, we definitely don't want to mess with one of our stocks. So we're actually going to go basically Control V, and we're going to create a secondary engine. So you have Kolarbi, and then you have the Kolarbi 1. And we're going to actually change the name of this from the Kolarbi, engine Kolarbi, to the NK33. And I generally switch over the naming convention. Just that's what I do. You can literally name it whatever. You could call it the pizza engine, or you could just call it pizza and mushrooms, and you don't even have to use the word engine, but you have it there, and it's going to go here. Now, there are a few things that you do need to do with this engine before you start making changes to the actual engine, and that's just simply because if you don't do them now, you're going to forget later, and you can cause a lot of problems. So first thing you need to do is change the display name and the description. Now, again, you can call this anything you want. And then you can say here, I think this is a engine from Russia or the USSR. So we'll say USSR inspired engine. And you can always go back and change this, and I will generally, when I release engines, name them something absolutely crazy and have a lot of fun with that. Usually after birds. Why birds? We're not really sure. Biggest engine ever seen in FFS. Yes. There was a giant discussion about that one. So we're going to make this definitely big. It's definitely going to be bigger than the stock engines for sure. Yeah. We were looking at doing an F1 or maybe a Sea Dragon, but somebody mentioned that might be a little overkill. So we're going to jump into this and get to making some changes. So the first thing we need to do is obviously we want to get like a reference picture. So we're going to jump on the internet, and thanks to Cedric, he's actually popped up this image that we already have. And this is pretty good. This gives us all three, and it has the dimensions on it. And surprisingly, the dimensions are in metric. I can't tell you how many engines that we've had where the dimensions have not been metric. So we want to copy this image, and what we want to actually do is going back here, we want to go here and right click on this and say show in Explorer, and through the magic, am I going to be able to do this? Nope, I'm going to have to do it this way. Let's put it to the side here. There we go. Drag and drop. Drag and drop works. All right. I'm going to call this NK33. Okay. So the reason we did this is because it will then pop up here as an image, and we can drag and drop the image onto the actual drawing. This is super useful when you're trying to make engines because you can then sort of put it behind the engine and then size the engine appropriately. Now, the only issue you do have to make sure though is that the drawing is to scale and the scale is to the actual space behind it. And for some reason, I've lost my grid space. Cool. Awesome. So we're going to create a empty here for 1 second, and we're just going to call this the size. And we're going to zero it out because we don't need it all over the place. And we're just going to add a component, and we're going to call it custom pipe. And we know that the engine is 3.5 meters by 1.5. Very simple. So we can go here and say position 1 is going to be 0, and the width is going to be 1.5 meters, and the height is going to be 3.5 meters, and the width again is, we're looking at this, and I'm going to say it's probably going to be 2 meters because the turbo machinery at the top is a little bit wider than the nozzle. And then we'll go like that, and with that, it should create a box like so. And here's our box. Oops, our box disappeared. Okay, so here we're going to add another component. We're going to add a mesh. And we're not really going to use this pipe mesh. We just want something so we can actually visually see what we're doing. And it is called size. And we're just going to call it black. Oops, there we go. And the shape is going to be flat. There we go. Let's create this flat shape. Now, I'm going to make this negative 3.5 because it's an engine, and at the top of the engine is 0, and at the bottom of the engine is whatever magic number it has. We're going to generate that mesh. Now, you'll notice it does cover everything. So we're going to say the base depth is like negative 20, some crazy low number. We're going to get rid of it later, but that just gets us to, okay, that is, the engine should fit in there, like this. And if we go to here and we click on this box here, we can actually drop the opacity like so, and gets to here. Now this is where we can sort of start actually making the engine, and we just have to scale this up to the right size. So I'll just do it here. That's pretty close. Not, oh no, 1.25. I think that's probably close enough. 2.7. 2.7. Try that. Close enough for horseshoes. So there we go. And now we can actually start making changes to the engine. So that was sort of the pre-start. So now we're getting into actually making changes to the engine. So the engines actually come in a couple different pieces that I'll quickly go through. So you have the main object part, which is the engine, and generally that includes the title, name, the variants, the tags, etc. here. So we go here, tag, and we have to pick category engine. There we go, engines, because we do want it to show up in the engines. We can set the priority to whatever we want, but we'll leave it at 0 for now. The orientation module is here, and the variable module is here. The variable module for the engines generally includes throttle, engine on, heat on, creative use, and gimbal on, and these are for the actual engine controls. That'll have some other stuff in here, like you'll have your custom surface, which is at the top here for connecting, and then you'll have the flow module, which is what fuel your engine is using, and then you'll actually have the engine module. This is the actual specs of the engine and like how much thrust it'll do, how efficient it is, all that stuff like this, which we'll cover a little bit later. You have the torque, how much torque the engine will produce. The audio module, which is, basically the engine sound, of which there's a couple options in there, but we can also make our own sound if you want. And then the move module, this here is specifically for the gimbaling of the engine. And you'll see that listed in here as the gimbal right there, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But that's what this one is. Then you have sort of the visual stuff. So the base, the strut, the ring, the vessel, that's all the stuff at the top. That's basically all the turbo machinery. It looks nice. It's, if you run into it, it's bad. If it's a physical object, you can hit things on the engine, but it doesn't actually have any real functionality other than looking nice and being a physical part in the game. You then get to the nozzle, and this is where stuff gets a little bit more complicated, because the nozzle itself, again, is a physical part with a pipe, custom pipe here for the sizing and everything, the pipe mesh for the color and stuff, which we can get quite detailed on, the collider, which has a heat hitbox, so the heat, which is this green outline here, doesn't burn the bottom of the nozzle. And then you also have the pipe surface for where the attachment is at the bottom. The rest of the nozzle, you can't actually attach it to, even if you have an item sitting perpendicular or adjacent to it, it won't attach there because you don't want weird stuff attaching to your nozzle. Then in the nozzle, you have the flame holder. And in the flame holder, it has basically this move module. And this move module is what actually controls the temperature of your flame. So right now it's 0. The flame is off. If you want to actually edit the flame, you'd hit it 1 and it actually would make the flame. Now you're probably saying the flame's not there, and that's because the flame actually goes under this these parts. So when we get to the flame, we're going to get rid of all this sort of preamble stuff I put in here for actually making the engine. We'll get it out when we make the flame, because the flame is sort of the last thing you do on an engine. And then, of course, the flame itself, and then you have the different colors of the flame. Then you have the heat box, which is this green outline right here, and it holds this holder, which is a 2D physics object that's been linked to Spaceflight Simulator's overriding parts methodology. And then you just have these two little things down here, which are just my reference material, which I will delete before I finish the engine, but it's just there so we can see what it looks like when we build the engine. So there we go. So where do we start? Well, we start actually with the base. And the reason we start with the base is because, as I said, I wanted to make it a certain width. And the width of the base, generally you can put it wherever you want, but you have to realize that whatever you do, Spaceflight Simulator works on 0.05 or 0.5 meters. So anything like when you have 0, like here, you'll see it has Y, etc. But you'll always have a 0 point or a 0.5 or 1 or something like this, so that you can have it where that actually attaches, because that's where it'll actually attach in the game. And if you don't do that, the same thing like with the bottom of the tube. The bottom of the tube, I said here, was 3,512 millimeters, which is 3.5 meters, if I've done my math correctly. And but I'll never do 3.5 to 1 meters. I'll round it to 3.5 meters. Same thing here. Diameter is 1490. I'll round it up to 1.5 meters, and that basically allows it to work out. And I do not know what this extra length here is. I think it's just the top of the tube, but we're going to ignore that part due to Spaceflight Simulator game mechanics. And I'm doing little quotes here because getting things sticking and other stuff, while it might look cool, tends to cause problems. So with a budget preamble, we're going to actually start with the base. And if I can get the base here, there we go. And there's a couple ways we can do this. We can grab this little square and move it out like this and make our base wider, because we do want a wider base. And we can do this like this. Now, you don't actually have to make the base like this, but you can do it that way. The other way you can do it is you can actually go in here on the right hand side and type in numbers. So you can go 1.25 and then that way there, and then you can hit generate mesh here and it'll actually generate the change. And you can see here that's now a much wider base because we decided that's what we wanted for the engine when it was finished. And Actually, it's probably backwards. Yep, I made that backwards, didn't I? Yes, I did. I need to change that number. So when I made the size, I said I did this. So we're just going to do this. Negative 1.35. Oops. 3.5. And this one over here is 0. And then we're going to hit generate mesh. And that's how the engine's supposed to look like. So the base can be much bigger. It can be up to 2. But we'll leave it like this for now. I think that's probably good enough. And then we'll do that. So next thing we want to do is we're going to actually jump to the nozzle. Part of the reason we're doing this is because the nozzle is a big deal on these engines, but also because a lot of the turbo machinery is going to work around the nozzle, so we do need to have the nozzle in place. And again, you can drag it down. The only thing is for this one here, whatever you do, you bring it down to here. As I said, it's got to be negative 3.5 exactly, not negative 3.51, not negative 3.4999573. It needs to be exactly, because if it's not, when you connect things to the bottom and have the nozzle sit on something, it won't actually connect. So that's just a certain thing. And then again, just zero out the X factor here. And then we can actually go here and we can say what our number is. So we said 1.59, so we can go 1.490 like that. And that's going to create it about that big. And I said I wanted actually 5. So we're just going to move, yeah, we can leave it there. And then we can hit generate mesh. And that's going to create this giant oversized nozzle, but you get the idea. Now, we're going to make some changes here, and we're just going to quickly, again, make the nozzle based on the drawing underneath as best as we can without worrying too much about accuracy, because we can always come back and clean this up. And this is just a quick little tutorial video, so I'm trying to show you guys the basic steps on how to do this. Realizing, of course, that I need to probably make it shorter. And we'll go like this. Actually, you know what? I'm doing it this way. Yeah, okay. We'll go like that. Okay, so if we're going to do that, I got to go negative 1.5. And then that means I can get rid of that and get rid of that. So negative 1.5 means that this has to be negative 2. Okay. There we go. And then that's negative 2 and 1.5. And then this guy could go a little bit wider out here. And we're just trying to get close to what the drawing shows us. But the drawing is probably not centered at all. It is not. So we're going to go back to the drawing. And we're just going to move it over so hopefully it'll actually get centered. It's hard to center these drawings because they don't have a center line on them. Do they? Oh, this one kind of does. Okay. Okay. And we're going to go back to the nozzle. And if I hit generate mesh again, you can see, there we go. And for some reason it's a bit too far, but hang on. I just want to double check my math. So negative 2 minus, oh, here, yeah, you got to watch out for this type of stuff. You don't want a multiplier. Okay, there we go. Now the nozzle's in the right spot. All right, so just trying to lift that nozzle up, and we're going to bring this nozzle part down. We're going to hit generate mesh again, just trying to make it look good. I just gotta make sure I go back here. And again, you just, when you're doing this, you have to watch out for the X's going a little sideways. There's no easy way of saying keep it on the line. Oh. Okay, so there's the nozzle very quickly. And you can sort of see, there we go. And part of the reason I move the nozzle down, if I can grab it out of all the stuff I have going here, is this little circle point here is the 0 point, and that's where it's going to gimbal back and forth. So everything above the nozzle is not actually going to change. And we've got that going there. Okay, so this brings us to all this fun stuff at the top, the turbo machinery. Now, there's currently a couple pieces that are actually already here, like the ring, the vessel, etc. So I'm going to try to reuse these a little bit. So in terms of this one here, I'm going to move him because he's on the wrong side for our drawing. And I'm going to move him over here because there's a vessel right there. And then I'm going to go 1.5. And I'm going to say probably 1.75 and make it a little bit bigger and go like that. Next size, we have the ring. So the ring again is this ring down here in sort of that FFS style. Spaceflight similar style. We'll make it a little bit bigger. And then the ring is centered. I know this. So the ring is centered. Why is the nozzle not centered? Okay, 0. There we go. Now the nozzle's centered. Yeah, the drawing is not the best thing in the world, but that's okay. And then the ring has a slight little rotation on it, so we can go like this. And we're actually going to make it a little bit bigger by going here and saying 1.25, 1.5, 1.25, and we'll generate a mesh. And then we're just going to move it up again. And because it's not a part that's going to move, we can kind of do this half. I don't want to say cheaty way of doing it, but I generally don't like using the transform and the custom pipe together like this. But because it's not going to move when the engine's running, it's just going to stay there. I don't worry too much about it. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pipe. Now, we got this little guy here. It's called a strut. We're going to call him the pipe now. And we're going to move him over here like so. And we're going to move him over here like so. There we go. Go like this. And we're going to make him a lot bigger to sort of cover this whole pipe section that we have. And then we're going to color it so that he is the right color for what we're attempting to do. It has a little angle here, down, there we go. And we're just going to sort of follow the piping, making some changes. Now, you can make a lot of little changes and get a very smooth pipe if you want to spend the time doing it. But the other aspect too is that it also depends on the coloration, etc., that you're going to apply. But for right now, we're just going to try to get most of the major turns here and not do too much drastic stuff here as we sort of go around the pipe, trying to keep it as true to form as possible. Now, one thing with the custom pipe is that it does not like straight changes. There's always got to be an angle to it. That is one of the downsides of custom pipes. So if I want to make this really narrow, I have to do it like this. If I were to put it on top, it actually wouldn't make a hard cut. It would add a slant into it. So I'd rather I put the slant in, then I know where the slant is being put rather than relying on the custom pipe to do it. And then we're going to go across here, and we see here that this is a little too wide. Okay, go. And then over here, we again have this more turbo machinery, which we can go right here. And I can just show you that we can also do this, which is another way of making it. And we have to be careful, just like in Ghostbusters, we don't want to cross these lines, because if they do, sometimes the editor's like, oh, I can't actually do this, and then it crashes, and then you have to like restart it, and it's a major pain. So we're trying to avoid restarting the machine. Okay. Oh, this one down here. There. And then we're going to go here. And I don't know what this is, but a bunch of turboprop stuff. And this is like a lower vessel. So we're going to generate the mesh on this guy here. There we go. And you can see here where it's being run into by the pipe. So up here, at the base depth, we're going to increase that to 1. That generally is enough to do it. We're going to generate the mesh, and now it's above the pipe, the nozzle. And then we're going to grab this guy here, the vessel. We're going to go Control V, and we're going to create a new vessel. Oops, right here, and we're just going to put it up here for ease of sake. And then we're going to move this guy down. Oops, down, down. Okay, and we can actually do it this way too. And then we're going to rotate it a little bit, and I'm going to say this guy here is 2. And I'm just going to move him so that he is in between this ring here and this pipe, so I can go back to the pipe and then make some adjustments so that the pipe actually now goes into this, and we can just make it like this. And because the pipe is actually kind of high, we do want to try to do that. This now, obviously there's a jump here. This jump is actually being controlled by this grid size right here. So we're actually going to go 0, 0, 1, make it smaller, and allow us to move it smoothly and get it as accurate as possible so that when I generate the mesh, boom, there we go. And that's our top pipe. That's our vessel up here. We obviously could make another pipe on the side here and some other stuff, so we can get to that. But I just want to now move this photo now that we sort of got the pieces in place. We're actually going to move it off to the side here, like so. And we can actually get rid of the size chart too, because we now know we're within the sizing that we wanted. Almost this one's sticking out a little bit, but that's okay. If there's an engine sitting beside it, it'll sit right there. Okay, so these will stack pretty nice, and we can get rid of that mesh, and you can see here that the plume returns. So that's where we are right now in terms of look. We're going to change the pipe coloring a bit because I don't really like metal, just straight metal. I want to try to get one that looks a little bit better. We can also do this. Yeah, you can start doing some really strange stuff here, but what I want to see is not that one. We'll go with this one for now. It gives us a bit of a change, and because of the color differences, it doesn't make the pipe changes that awkward. We do need to go here though and move this down to that, and then we just want to make sure here that it is 0. Okay, and we'll generate the mesh, and then we're just going to move it over so it's about right there. All right, so that's pretty good. Obviously we need to add some more stuff up here in the turbo machinery. So that's where we will go, and I'm going to use the vessel number 1. I'm going to copy it again, just simply it's easier than having to make it from scratch. I'm just going to call this the turbo machinery, like so. And I'm going to move that so it's up here. Actually, I'm going to do this, 0 that out. Put it up here like so. Okay. And then down here, we're going to drag it down here. Okay. And then we're going to generate a mesh here. And this is the important part. The engine nozzle and this are going to have some overlap. And the reason this overlap exists is because when the nozzle moves, I don't want it to have giant clear spots afterwards. And then at the top here, we're going to call this negative 0.25. That should be enough. Generate it. So nozzles, I'll do it this way. The nozzle actually sits in it. There we go. Okay. And then finally, we want another pipe. So we're just going to take the same thing. We're just going to go copy it, paste it, so I don't have to do it. And I'm going to go pipe 2. And we're going to move it over here, shrink it down, and we're just going to get rid of most of the data points, and then we're going to rebuild it as an actual pipe that's going to go in the background here. There we go. And it's actually going to go all the way through this, but because I'm going to set it to the background, it'll actually go behind it. I just need to make sure that I get this in the right spot. So we're going to go 5. Okay. And then we go to our pipe 2. There we go. And we're just going to move it over here. And I want this guy here at -0.5, no, 0.4, 0.3, 5, no, 4, okay, 3, 5, okay, that's centered. And then we're going to go like this. Okay. And then we're going to go and take this bottom part and we're going to put it at the same spot. So -335. Oh, and it's 0.75. And the reason we're doing this is because when we actually generate this here, generate the mesh, you'll see that it goes behind the vessel. So that doesn't look too bad. And then we'll look here. We have the vessel here. This one actually curves up, but we've curved it down. So we're going to have this go down and into this other vessel for lack of having it do anything else. And this is our semi-realistic moment of the day. Oops. See, I crossed it. Now it's going to crash on me. No, don't crash. See if I can save it. Alright, cool. I think I saved it. No. I deleted the wrong one. Shoot. Okay, there we go. I saved it, but I accidentally deleted this top part, so I have to put it back. Yeah, you got to be careful because it'll happily go crash on people. All right, and then we said -0.25. Okay. What I want it to do is actually tilt like this and go onto this guy right here. Generate mesh. Okay, so beyond that, looking horrible, horrible, horrible. No. Great mesh. Okay. And then this was, we have this as nozzle 2. So we're going to switch this one over here to nozzle. And we have one. Yeah, we can do that. There we go. So we can add some more turbo machinery here. Obviously, we can add a lot more stuff, but this top part is just for looks. It doesn't actually do anything with the engine. What actually does with the engine is the nozzle, which we'll get into now. So the first thing we want to do is just make sure that the nozzle, when it goes left and right, which is down here, that it doesn't actually do anything weird. And we can see here that it turns left. And then if we want, we can go -1 for turning right. And I actually want to make this a little bit more pronounced because I can. So we're going to go here. We're going to edit. Oh, I didn't want to delete that. All right. We're going to edit this one. Instead of -3, we're going to go -5. And then up here, since we have to do the same thing, instead of 3, it's going to go to 5. There we go. And then when we go -1, we apply translation. It's going to go there. And then when it's at 1, it's going to apply the animation. It's going to go there. And then we're going to set it back to 0 simply so that we don't need to mess around with it anymore. It's there. So it's just going to rock back and forth. All right. So with that said, next thing we're going to do here is we are going to go here and actually start changing the actual engine flame configuration. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to move the flame holder down to where the new nozzle height is, because we did move the nozzle, so I have to move the flame down, and that seems to match up. I also want to grab the heat holder, and I want to move the heat holder down as well. Now, or sorry, the heat hitbox. And I want it to go down to about right there. And here is where I'm going to change the sizing because right now it's obviously too small. So 1.5, 1.5 works. And then since this is going to be a bigger engine, we're going to go say 5 or something. Yeah, 5 is pretty good. And then we're going to go down here like so. And there we go. So with that, we have the new engine flame and everything has been moved into the proper position. We still need to make our actual thing look half decent. This is why trying to make these things live is a little bit tricky because doing all this can take quite a bit of time. But for right now, I just wanted to show you guys the basics. In here, what I wanted to do was actually create a new part, empty, and I'm going to call this retainer. That's probably not the right word for it, but that's okay. And I'm going to add a custom pipe and a pipe mesh. Pipe mesh, come on, pipe mesh. There we go. And I'm going to make this one here. It's going to be gray. That's the pipe data. Haha. Retainer. And then we're going to pick here gray. And then we're going to pick here flat, smooth. There we go. Cool. And this gives us this box here. And we're actually going to move it down here. Oh, shoot. We'll get it correct by moving this here. And we're going to move it down to about right there, as we can see here on the diagram beside it. And we're going to go here. And then we're going to just pull it out to the edges. And then we're going to hit generate mesh. And it actually created a gray ring. You can see it there. And we're going to make another one of these, 2 of these. And this retainer here is going to basically get pulled down to there. And the thing is, I put them as child to the nozzle, as you can see here. And the reason I did that is so that when the nozzle moves, they move. Otherwise, they won't move with the nozzle. And we just want one more out, but that's too far. So again, here we'll go 0.25 and pull it there. And then we'll hit generate mesh. There's our next retainer. And our last retainer, we're going to move down to the bottom here. And it's going to sit at the very bottom of the nozzle. And it's going to go 0.05. Well, there we go. And we're going to bring this down here. And we'll spread it out here. And like that. Ooh, there we go. Generate mesh. How's that look? It doesn't look the greatest, but 0.01. We'll pull it in. That. Okay. Generate that mesh so it's a bit wider out. Okay. And now this one here has a slightly different thing. So we're going to go to capsule, I believe is what it's called. Nope. Cargo. Nope. We're going to go through these. One of these is going to do it. Rivets. Rivets will do it, but maybe interstage. Is interstage closer looking? I think we're going to go rivets. Because it's got that look at the bottom. So we've got that. And then I actually now need to go and look at what an NK33 looks like. So we're going to open up our thing here. We're going to go NK-33 engine. We're going to go images from Google. And what's Google going to say? Google's going to say it's mostly a white engine. All right, silvery colored engine. So let's do that. So to do that, we actually want to get rid of the white. I want to get rid of these two. We'll possibly build them up later. And we're going to switch this to white. And just, this is again knowledge making these things. Metal 4 gives us the most silvery looking engine, as you can see here. And we'll just correct this by going 0.25. Generate the mesh like so. And that gives us this bit of a silvery engine. And then we're going to go back to the image. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So those parts are also pretty silvery. And then there's a line down the center. on the sides. Okay. All right, and then you can see here the larger ones over here, but we'll get to that bit later in the thing. I'm just trying to see if I can find a good side by side image. That probably tells me I've totally designed this completely wrong. Oh, there's one. Okay, cool. So there's apparently lines that go along it. So we can add those in without too much difficulty. So we're going to change these guys here from silver gray to white, like that. And then we're going to go here and we're just going to tap them down slightly. So they are slightly lighter than the actual engine. And then I'm going to copy this color because it's easier to do this, and then paste it here, and then change this back to white because gray was too dark. There we go. And then we'll add in those two lines by basically grabbing the retainer, and we're going to call, I don't know what to call these lines, we're going to call it the cooling line, and we're going to take this, we'll drag it up like this. Now it's going to need to move the whole engine, so we'll actually move it all the way to the top of the circle. Move it all the way down here. We'll change this to 0.001 because again we want to make sure it's accurate enough, and we're going to go like this. 5 0 on that one. Okay, at the very top we're also going to want to go 0.05, and we'll generate the mesh. It's probably going to not show up because it needs to be higher. So how about 2? 2 got us halfway there. 1 got us halfway there. There we go. So we have it there. And then we're just going to, because, you know, this is 2D of a 3D object, we're going to go here. I'm going to go 0, 4. That's not too bad. And then we don't want that to go like this, so oops. Gotta grab that. No, we actually should put it up there all the way to here. Actually, you know what? Halfway is, you know, all the way is fine. Okay. No, let's leave it halfway here. Okay, 0 like that, and then 0.04. Just trying to clean up the ones like this, and then generate the mesh, and then we're going to go back to this pipe here, and we're going to make it taller so that it sits over top. There we go, it hides it. Perfect. And this. Next, we're going to grab this cooling line, and we're going to copy it again, and we're going to see where we got another one that sort of comes down on the side here. So this one here, we're going to, again, grab this point, move it over here. We're going to grab this point, we're going to move it over to the edge there, and then we're going to grab the top point, and we're going to move it up here, and then we're going to create another top point here, and very carefully drag it up like this, and we're going to hit generate mesh, so it gives us a pipe on the side here, and we're going to come back down here, and look at our diagram. The diagram has it going to the top pipe line here. Okay, so we're going to have it just off center here. That, and then we're going to lift it up, and then with a little bit of skill we're going to go like that, and we'll generate the mesh, and it sort of looks like it's going there, but it's not quite there yet. Then we're going to generate the mesh, and that looks like it's pretty good. To avoid that overlap, we're actually going to go, this guy here is going to go -2 because he's sitting behind the engine anyway, so there we go. And then we'll just correct for its positioning up here. And we don't really see it after the pipe. So you know what? Let's do that. Whoops. Oh, see, that's not good. Crossed it. And Unity's probably crashing on me. Don't do it. This is where we try to recover it. And while I'm trying to recover it, I'm going to take a look and see if there's any questions in the chat. I haven't been ignoring you guys. I just trying to get this done. And yeah, this is a horrible, horrible mess. Yep. Don't do it. It's going to crash on me. All right, so this is what happens. Unity will crash if you cross the streams, as you can see here. So definitely do not do this with thing, because then you have to go like this, open up your task manager, and you have to kill Unity, the editor, and goodbye to the editor, and then you have to go back to the hub, give it a couple seconds, click on it, reopen it, and then go back and delete that one. Yeah, crash number 1. I think I've had like 4 of these in the live stream. It happens, so you know that's what it is. So we're gonna do this. The engine's right here, so we're gonna go back here and we're just gonna delete that section of the line, like so, done. Okay, it's gonna be straight now, but that's okay because I can deal with the straightness. Because I'm actually just gonna move it over here like so, and I'm gonna say 0, and then 0.05. That gives me a pretty straight pipe, like so, and generate the mesh. Okay. And then from here, I'm going to, again, move it out and up. I'm going to create the extra point very carefully here. And I'm just going to basically redo what I just did because Unity decided to crash on us. And then we're going to hit generate mesh. And we're going to move it over here like so. You know what? We can do it this way too. And we're going to have it go into this thingy here. And as long as I make it deep enough, it'll actually end up looking pretty decently good. Generate mesh. Okay. And then we want this part here to reach out and hit it as well. So extending out these sides here. It's stuck on the larger one here. There we go. So I'm going to go like that. And then we're going to go like that. And then I'm going to add an extra, oops, come on. Extra piece at the top bottom here. Bring it down there. And then we're just going to bring it back in here so it doesn't look too awkward. There we go. And we'll do the same thing at the bottom here. Extend it out just ever so slightly. Oh. Then add a part at the bottom, like that, and back in. There we go. And then we'll just correct this so that it's in the right spot again. Good. Oh, that looks pretty good. Have to let me know in the comments. Am I making an NK33 or whatever it is, or am I just making random engine number 13? Okay. So there we go. That's all good. Now we do have a few things that we need to do. Number 1, with the NK33, there's a, we're gonna go here and I'm gonna go, instead of engine, I'm gonna write in plume and see if we can get a picture of this engine on fire. And I'm not sure, no, that's the RD. We're looking for the plume color. Down. I have to add in the word engine. Come on. I don't know what color this engine is. Oh, there it is. So it's yellow. Yeah, definitely yellow. Okay, so we're going to go and change the flame color. And we do that by going over here. Now, there's all these colors here. This is what it is here, but the reality is the flame holder over here. This is what actually controls the flame. So if we hit apply animation right now, that's what it's going to do. If I were to go in here and I say the diamond is, let's say, super purple, and I go like this, and I make like a super purpley out thing like this. If I go back to the flame holder and I hit apply animation, it's going to go back to what it was before. Yeah, I know. Random engine number 13. Well, I'm trying to do these things, but again, in a live tutorial, these engines can take like an hour or two to make. Like I'm not kidding. Like 3 hours on an engine is not unusual. So trying to like quickly slap one together in a live stream is kind of a bit of a risky business, especially an engine as complicated as an NK33. So there we go. So we know it's yellow. So let's change everything to yellow instead of white. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna click here. We're gonna go here, and we're gonna go yellow, and we're gonna switch it over to yellow, and we're gonna switch all of them over to yellow instead of this white color that we had. Like so. And then we're going over here. So this one's a bit purpley pink. Well, it's now gonna go yellow. And then what else do we have here? Yeah, so that's fine. It's blue on the other side. I just need the high side. It's gonna be a little bit interesting. There we go. And we can change obviously this to yellow or maybe an orange. Give it a bit of a slightly different hue as it goes. So there we go, yellow. And this side here, we can make it look maybe a bit red. There we go. It's gonna look pink. Of course it's gonna look pink. Yeah, we've done this one. And then we got this one here. And again, yeah, so this engine originally had a lot of purple in it. We're changing it to yellow, make it a bit stronger yellow. And we're getting rid of the purple by switching it to like an orangey colored sort of thing, just for a change. And then we're gonna hit apply animation, and you'll see that now it's turning yellow. And here we got this one here. Go like this, and we're gonna go apply it to yellow, and then finally this one here. So we've changed it from a purpley color to a yellow. So what we're going to do here is, because the actual image of it looks more like, where is it here? This, and I'm taking this as my example right here. Or this example. This is a good example. We can make it bigger. I don't know if we can make it bigger. We might be able to make it bigger. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there it is. Is it going to go? All right, so that's what it actually looks like. So it's a giant stream of yellow with orange sort of along the edges and stuff. So that's what we're going to end up doing. Now that we've sort of made this more yellow and stuff, we can actually start making adjustments to this and then correcting for that. So first of all, center here, we'll adjust how bright it is, but I definitely want to adjust how big it is and stuff, realizing that the flame randomizer has to be adjusted for this as well. So here we're going to go and we're going to say, instead of that, we're going to say it's going to be not, well, 2 is obviously too big. How about 1? 1's a bit too big. 0.75. Okay. And then lengthwise, we're going to say is 3. That's going to give us this big giant plume here. And then we're going to pull it back here a little bit. Actually, why is it so different? Shouldn't be that far out. Why is it that far out? Hmm. Yeah, because if that goes and does this, it's gonna be moving it that way. And I'd rather it be centered. All right, so we're gonna go to engine exhaust and we're gonna pick half. Nope. Why is this off centered? Eh. Hmm. Oh, I know why. Okay. Yeah, because it's got sub pieces that I'm ignoring. Okay. We gotta grab the sub pieces and move them. Right. Oh, so much fun. Okay. And this here is going to be 1.5. And obviously we're going to have to bring center white down. So we're going to go here. Is center white in the flame holder? Center white is in the flame holder. So we're going to go over here and we're going to bring down the intensity one. Oh, here, right. The alpha. And then we're going to put the color back in. Okay. And then we're going to hit apply animation. And that gives us a bit more of a cool plume. We'll have to find this outer one here, which we need to bring in. It's going to, and yeah, you end up playing around with these a bit because they are built in on each other for a reason. There, what we got? Say 1.4, 0.45. Okay. And then what we have to do is go down here, the randomizer, and go 1.43, 0.45 is the widest I want to go. Okay. And then here we got to go 1.78 and then 1.85. And it has to be these values here, the XY scale values, have to be within the flame randomizer or the flame randomizer will override it. So that's just something to keep in mind. The child parts don't have the flame randomizer, so we can actually play with them a little bit less crazy. And I just want to go about right there. And then we have the diamonds. Where are the diamonds? Oh, the diamonds are down here. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of diamonds. I know they exist, but I've never been a super big fan of them. But we're going to move this one here. We're going to say it's 1. We're going to say it's 2. No, it's too big. 1, 1, 1, 1. And I believe the diamond is a flame holder object. There it is right here. And we're going to change this color here to the darker orange or darker red. We'll go orange, orangey red here. And over here, we're going to change this a little bit more yellow and switch a bit to orange. And then we're going to actually bring it up a bit like so. And then we're going to hit apply animation and it's going to be very bright and very big. Okay, so that's okay because we're going to actually move it into the plume a bit to give it a bit of expanse. And 0.5. If I move this down, was it? And then I'd have to move it up to where? There. Okay, what did I say? Let's say 50. So I'm going to go back to the flame holder, pick the diamond, pick the top thing here. And again, because this overrides what I just did, we're going to say 50. And then we'll hit apply animation, make sure it's there. And then we're going to go, there's a diamond small, this guy down here. He's very small. We're going to just move him up a bit here. And probably bring him, say about right there. And then probably here, 0.4. Okay, so with that, again, we'll go back to the flame holder, make those changes here because we need to, otherwise they don't actually get made. As silly as that sounds, there we go. And then apply. Okay, and then we're going to go to the exterior. Now, exterior on this one is definitely not great. So we're gonna go 5. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, 5 might be a bit too much. 4. No. 4.5. No, we want to cover that diamond a bit. So 7.5. No. Let's go 5. There we go. And then we have a couple other plumes here. And I want the interior. This one here. This is the red. So this one needs to go back to being red. So we're gonna go back to the flame holder. We're gonna find the exterior red right here. We're gonna go back here and we're gonna give it that orangish color like that, and then we're gonna actually tack it up a little bit more. There we go, because that's gonna be our, yeah, like that. That is way too much, and it is incredibly long. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, that's gonna go to zero point 0.5, and this is gonna go to probably not 4. Let's go 1. How about 1? No, that is still way too long. That engine's probably got the longest bloom in existence. Okay. All right. What else is still crazy long here? Oh, the exterior blues. Oh, 45. What? How about 4.5? All right. Now we'll make that 5, but oh my god, 45. That was crazy. 5. And then we've got to punch these guys back up. Let's say 1. Actually, you know what? 2 might be not too bad. And this guy here, we're going to say 2. Yeah, there we go. That looks pretty good. And we're just going to say 2.5 on the wide side. Like, that's good. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty decent. Small diamond's going to shift with the other one there. Okay, so now we have, I think, a pretty half decent engine. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll keep going here. But yeah, so we've got the proper sizing. We've got this terrible turbo machinery piping. I definitely need to figure out a better way of making turbo machinery piping. This is the realistic versus the semi-realistic. When I'm doing these things, I'm not the biggest fan of making this complicated piping because it doesn't really translate super well, if I'm allowed to say that. But for now, we got this. So the nozzle's good. The heat holder is also good. Actually, the heat box should be a little bit longer. So we're gonna go say 7. We'll go 8. 8's probably good, and then we're just gonna move it down so it's off the nozzle itself. So about right there. There we go. And if I go heat holder 0.5, it's gonna go into the engine. Oh, okay, I don't like that. 1. Okay. If I go here 0.5, what does it do? That's not bad. Okay. 1. Okay. And then we're gonna go to the flame holder and just make sure that it is the heat hit box that's moving. Okay. And that's good. So if I go apply animation, that's what the flame looks like. And then if I go 0, just to make sure that I'm not having anything weird popping up, it's off. Okay, cool. So we're gonna go 1. We're gonna apply the animation, and then we're gonna leave it at 0. That way, when you pull the engine in the build screen, the flame isn't on, because that's just embarrassing. And I've made that mistake more than once. Okay, so now I'm gonna possibly fix up some of the engine parts there, but let's get into covering the next step, which is actually the specs of the engine. So center of mass is now going to be negative 3.5. What is it? 3.5 divided by 2. So I'm going to say, all right, we'll do that. Negative 1.75. And that puts the center of mass about right here, which is good because obviously the center of mass is not at the very top of the engine. The next thing we're going to do is we don't have to touch any of the variables and modules, etc., because we used an engine that was already stock, so it has all those cool things already plugged in. We don't have to worry about the point array, it's in the right spot. We do, however, if we look at it, need to make it a little bit wider though. So that's as wide as, or slightly wider than the base. There we go. So that can be used later. And it's proper. Liquid fuel, this is going to run on liquid fuel. Everything else is good here. We're going to get to the engine module. Now, this is where we're going to get the specs for the engine, which I'm hoping we have here on, let's see here. I think we said the engines for this. I'm going to open this up. Sorry, it's off. And it's going to create this lovely chart here. So this is the NK33 right here. And these are the specs that it comes with. Now, these specs are in real life, so when we switch them over to Spaceflight Simulator, we do need to make some adjustments for them. And the reason is because if we don't do that, this engine ends up being incredibly overpowered, and you can basically use the engine to launch a Saturn V rocket to the moon and back, and maybe, you know, visit Mars while you're at it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the thrust. The thrust we can actually just type right in 168. Done. The next thing we have is the ISP. So the ISP is 225. Now, because of the way the game works, we actually take the number 325 and we divide it by 1.5, which gives us 216. So in here, we're going to go to 216. We could do 216 or 217 or 217.6 or whatever, but doesn't, one extra number is not going to make a huge difference. We then also need the weight of the engine. And then we should be done. So let's see what we got the weight of the engine somewhere. NK33. Come on, Google. What is the actual weight of this engine? And this engine, dry weight, weighs 1,240, so 1.25 tons. But because of Spaceflight Simulator, we actually have to multiply that by 2, so 1.25 becomes 2.5. And that's where this engine sits. And then we'll just scroll this back here like so. The gimbal throttle, because I added a bit more turning, I'm actually going to up the gimbal to 3.5 on the throttle. Another option I've done on some of my other engines is I've actually gone and said, okay, I'm going to do 1.25, or I guess in this case 1.75 plus throttle, and then I said 1.75 as well. And the reason I do this is it allows the engines to give a little bit of torque when they're not running. Some people might like this, some people might not like it, but often these engines generally have a bit of like a bleed or something like this that allows a bit of altitude control. So if you have a big engine and you just have a little capsule at the very top, you might find that you're not actually able to turn the whole thing unless the engines are running at full tilt. But there's usually altitude controls on these rockets to allow you to do that. But unless you slap a bunch of RCSs on there, you don't actually end up having them, even though very little fuel would actually go into it. So let me know what you think about that. Audio, we're going to keep the same. The move module, we've already made changes to. So theoretically, this engine works. So we can definitely go and try it out in the game. If we're going to do that, though, we do need to either get rid of or toggle inactive this. But for right now, we're just going to delete it because I don't need it. And we can go like that. And there we go. So we have this crazy looking engine that is not anywhere accurate to what we wanted to. We're going to go back over here. We're going to add it to my engine pack because that's the easiest way for me to put it into the game. I'll find it right there. And then we're going to go here. We're going to build the pack out here. And we'll grab my engines. So we're going to say this is 3.1. And then we're going to say the output file is pico space engines. I think I said V 0.3.1 like that. We need to make sure that we do pick the right asset label. And then we want Windows and Mac OS. At some point, if mobile is supported, I should be able to see like, iOS and Android. I just click those and I also build it for those. But for right now, it's just Windows and Mac. It's the only thing I can export from. But once further support is available, I just have to run this step and then upload it and say, here you go. So we're just waiting on the devs for this. And that's about where we get for that. Now, this is actually going to create it in a folder called Mod Builder, which is in your Mod Toolkit asset Mod Builder. You can see the pack up here. You're going to want to copy that and you're going to want to paste it in the parts folder, which is the game Flight Simulator game, mods, custom asset parts. And you want to paste it here. Now, the only thing you need to do is careful of is delete the other pack, the earlier pack. The reason for that is because you can't have the same items in the game in two packs. So don't name your thing fuel tank because you will get an error because there's already an item called fuel tank in the game. So we're going to go here into Spaceflight Simulator and we're going to see if this is going. And I'm actually going to create a new world because, oh, here we go. Yeah. Partly because with the update, it broke my old one. We're going to build a new rocket. And we're going to grab this little guy here. We're going to grab the here. I don't know why we're building out a whole new rocket, but you know, we can do it. There we go. Get some fuel tanks. Yay. And then we're going to go to engines. Where are we here? Engines. And there's our crazy looking engine, and we're going to slap it there. That that definitely looks interesting. So we're going to go to launch, and it works. It hasn't given me any errors yet. We're going to turn the engine on, and then we're going to hit this. And if you are wearing headphones, you may want to take your headphones slightly away from your ears. I don't know how loud it's going to be because I'm hitting the button, and away we go. And you can see here that's working relatively well. The plume has a few little issues that we'll need to work out, but the rocket's going up um, very fast. Yeah, we're going to possibly burn out the rocket. But we are running an engine that does apparently 129.5. Was that the thrust number I typed in? We'll have to double check that one. Um, hmm. Yeah, we're on a regular world. Okay. Yay. And then we can just spin it around. Woo. But yeah, so the engine works. Got a little burnt because it is a very big engine for a very small rocket. But if we go back to revert to build here, revert to build and actually look at this, it does come up. It is 2.5 tons. It says the thrust is 168. Is that what we actually got in the game? Yeah, 168. Okay. Yeah. So we can make some changes to the plume by reducing maybe the intensity a bit. Um, and for some reason, it does have this lining stuff, so we'll have to figure out um, which one's there. But yeah, no, I'm basically trying to launch a tiny little rocket with a huge engine. Um, but as you can see here, I just kind of wanted to put it into space. So we're going to go to space for a second here, just so you can see what this engine looks like in space. And that's what it looks like in space. So the swizzle is a bit short, but beyond that, it's not too bad. All right, so we're going to head back and see if we can make a fix on that. There we go. So, because for some reason, the swizzle, which is this cool thing here, I think it's the exterior. Which one is it? Engine exhaust half, I think it is. Nope. Which one is it? Exterior blue? I'm trying to figure out which one it is that swizzles. For whatever reason, it is not doing what I want. It's much shorter than it should be. Hmm. Okay. We also have the glows that we didn't put in. So we can definitely put those in 2 seconds. Um, and I think the glows are not controlled by the flame holder. That's correct. The glows are separate. So we're going to basically go here. We're going to go 1, and we're going to go here 0.5. It's going to give us this little glow here. And then we're going to move the glow down a little bit. Change it from pink to the orange that we want. There we go. And we're going to say probably 2. And probably 1. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll just move it so it covers a bit of the end of the nozzle. And here, we want this one here to be much longer, but much more narrower. Go. And then we're going to move this guy down. And that's going to add glow down the rocket. Like so. Okay. So there we go. So this is our somewhat more futuristic engine than I was planning to, that I'm calling the NK33 because I'm going to fix that up a little bit. But I did want to add some cool features and show you guys how to do some kind of neat features um, that you can now do with sort of the pack. So I'm going to call this the Shroud. And I think you guys can kind of get what we're going with this one. And we're going to create an empty here, and we're going to call this one the uh, Turbo Shroud. And we're going to put the Turbo Shroud in the Shroud. And we're going to make this Turbo Shroud a custom pipe. Custom pipe. And then a pipe mesh. Pipe mesh. Whoops. I said pipe surface. Remove. I want pipe mesh. All right. And here, what we're going to do is call it the Turbo Shroud. There we go. We're going to call this white, because white colored, because that's normally what things are. We're going to say the shape texture is going to be edges, not USA. I just want edges smooth. Okay. And we're going to say the base depth is 5. No, we could probably get away with 2. Let's see. There we go. And then we're going to go here. Shroud is 0, 0, 0. And we're going to go here. The turbo shroud is. And what we're actually going to do is we're just going to have a little bit of fun. Oops. Little bit of fun if this thing decides it's going to behave itself. Negative 2 point. 2 point. Yeah, 2 might work. Okay. 2. And then we're going to go here. We're going to say 1.25. And this is actually negative 0.5. No, negative 0.5 is a bit too much, but that's fine. I want it here. There we go. And what we're just going to do is actually create a little engine shroud for the engine. Why? Because we can. There we go. Generate. And then we want to take the turbo shroud. We're going to copy, paste it again. And this is just turbo shroud side. And we're just going to get rid of those pieces there. I'm going to go like this. And here, slightly angled, slightly here. We can do it that way. Yeah, sure, we can do it that way. Generate the mesh. And we have to just deal with some overlap. Okay, generate mesh like that. And is that going to do it this way? Oh, we could do it from there. Okay, let's do it that way. Yeah, we're just creating this kind of half neat shroud. Why? Because, again, why not? We're going to say it's 3. There we go. That work? That works. All right. And then we're going to say this here is 2.5, just to make sure everything sort of sits underneath it. Generate the mesh. Okay. We're then going to create in the shroud here a move module. Move module. And we're going to create a toggle module here. And the toggle module is going to call it shroud. Shroud. And we're going to say move modules in the shroud. And what it's going to do is actually apply this animation. And this animation is just going to make inactive the shroud. Where did I say? Turbo shroud. There it is. And also the turbo shroud side. And what this allows us to do, I'll just quickly add in our corrective numbers here, is you can actually toggle, do you want the shroud or not? And that's kind of a neat thing to do. And if we go like this, generate the mesh, it's gonna be nitty. Okay, there we go. So building this crazy engine, and we given it a shroud, so we can have it where you can have the shroud on or off, as you can see here. If we say this is 1, apply it, the shroud is gonna be off. Oh, come on. Why'd that not work? Oh, it's in rotation, not inactive. Aha. Apply it. There we go. And if you say 0, apply animation. Okay, so the shroud can be on or off. So there we go. So we apply it. We're actually going to switch it to active instead of inactive because I think most people generally don't want the shroud on. Um, so we'll do that. Apply the animation so it's hidden. But now in the game, we can actually have it where that works. And it adds a shroud to the top, and that will half hide our hideous, 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 hideous work up here of the turbo machinery by hiding it in this absolutely hideous shroud. But that's okay. We're going to make some changes to this thing. So we're going to remove attachment surfaces off these two guys because we don't actually want people attaching stuff to them. We're going to remove the physics colliders because we don't want things banging into them, and the build colliders. Okay, so I don't know. We did it. I'll show you what that looks like in the game, but for right now, that's there. Uh, the other thing that we could add, I'm trying to think what else we could add in here. Um, we might be able to add a boost, but let's just show you this. So again, we're gonna go here and build the mod. Go like this. This is going to allow us to now go and grow it up, and then we'll be able to show you the shroud. And you can use the shroud for some other stuff, because the next thing we'll do is we'll add the 43 add-on to the bottom. But I just want to make sure this works first before I spend all that time. Otherwise, people are gonna be like, "What?" And we're gonna go Spaceflight Simulator, and we're gonna go. Are there any questions in the chat? Let me know. Just like ping Pico and maybe add some question marks, and I will definitely see that as it pops up. It's a bit of a delay, so apology if that is an issue. But now we can come here and see here we have a shroud, so we can actually now turn the shroud on and off. So if we want a shroud on our rocket to hide our hideous work with an even hideous hideous shroud, we can do that. And then again we can launch it, and the shroud's not there. Right. I know why that happened. Okay. And you see. Okay, so we gotta go fix that. So when you're adding a toggle, and this is a thing that I keep forgetting, you do need to do two things. You need to have a variable for your toggle. So you need to go and make two variables, and we're going to call this shroud deploy, and I'll spell it properly, SHROUD. There we go. And then you also need shroud target. And this is very important. Save the target. This is very important. And then down here, you set shroud deploy and shroud target. And then we go and we put it out. And the reason for this is because if you don't do this, it doesn't save the state. And this is where I was running into a lot of things because it needs to be saved. Now, you can also save shroud deploy. The problem is that then shroud deploy would revert to 0 anytime it comes to a saved state. So generally, you only save the target. Otherwise, it does weird stuff, then it doesn't work. I know it sounds weird, but that apparently is how it works if I remember correctly. And yeah, there was an update and it changed everything, and I had to go fix a bunch of stuff. So yeah, lots of fun. Hey, General Cat, hi, welcome to the stream. We're just trying to make this engine work and look half decent. Trying to make live stream engines is a bit painful, but there's the shroud, and the shroud's still on it. Cool. And then we can click on it, and we can run our engine, and you can see the engine can move. And yeah, so this is working really, really well. Now, the only other thing I have to do is the swizzle is a bit too short. I want it to be a bit longer. I have to figure out why that is. And then I also wanted to show you guys the how to extend out the rocket and kind of do a neat little trick with that. So let's go and do that next. And then we'll probably call this one a day. And I will release this engine probably tomorrow because I definitely want to go and make it look not so awful. Okay, so we go here at the NK45. The NK45 is we're going to say 5 meters in diameter, and we're just going to consider it an add-on here. So we're going to add on to that, and it's going to go 2.5 in diameter. Okay, so we're going to create another. We're not create a nozzle. We're going to grab something else here. A retainer. I think the retainer. Yeah, we're going to grab one of the retainers, and we're going to call this here the NK-44 nozzle. And that's going to add on to the bottom of our nozzle. So we're going to go here. It's all zeroed out. Good. So I said it was um, -5 meters. And what did we say the other number was? 2.5. All right. 2.5. I'm going to say 2.5. Okay, so it's going to create this bigger nozzle like this. I'm going to delete this inner one right now and move this down to here. And then I'm just going to grab off the nozzle the number 1.5. Okay, and it's negative. So it's -2 and it's 1.5. There we go. We're going to generate a mesh here. That's that big. And we're going to grab this mesh. Oops, and it's going to be a pain in the butt to get it. We're going to call it metal 4 again because we want it to match the top one there. We're going to switch this to white. And then we're going to add some lines in here just to make it look a little bit more like a nozzle engine and not just a giant piece of whatever we call it. So, like so. Okay, generate. And then on this NK44 nozzle, we can then, we're going to take a couple of these parts that we had from here before, and we're just going to add them in here. So cooling line 1, cooling line 2, we're going to copy them. We're going to put them as children of nozzle 44. And this is important that they are children because when nozzle 44 isn't visible, we don't want them to be visible. And we're going to move this one down here. And we're just going to say -2, -2. And then we're going to have to make this one a bit bigger. That's okay. So we're going to say 3. It's now going to a very big nozzle. And we're going to grab this piece here. I'm going to drag it all the way down. And actually, we could probably just map that out to being -5. And it's -5 is too far. -2, -3. 3. Yeah, right. It's 2 plus 5. Yeah. So there we go. There we go. And then similarly, we can grab our cooling line 2, which is here. And we're going to delete that. We're going to delete that. And we're going to then say this here is going to go all the way down to -3, or negative, we'll say 2.5. Oops. 2.5. And we're going to say this one here is -2. Is that what we wanted? No, that did not. Oh, this is, no, why is this not working? I want to go all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to potentially crash everything if I'm not careful. Okay. I'm going to go here. And grab this one here. We're just going to put it to there. And just tilt it like that and get it in so it's in the same spot. There we go. Just going to generate the mesh for a second, see what we got. Okay, so down here, I need another one here. And move that all the way down here and make that smaller. Because I want it the same thing here. So copy that in here. Copy that here. Okay. Then we're going to generate the mesh. There we go. And then we can make some corrections and make this smaller like so. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is go up here to about where that point is. We're going to move this and we're going to move it so it's just slightly off the nozzle like this. And then we're going to grab some of these retainers and again, basically expand it out based on what this kind of the picture looks like. So there's 2 more retainers on here, and then it has an even bigger pattern on the bottom. Okay, so to do that, we're going to get a little bit fancy, but that's okay. We're going to grab the 2 retainers, 1 and 2. Actually, we'll need all 3. And we're going to go with that, and we're going to place them in here. 1, 2, 3. And again, we're going to take this retainer, we're going to come down to this halfway point here that I kind of came up with. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't crash on me. Okay, killed it. We're good. We're still working. So I'm going to move this retainer down to here. That's right. There we go. So it's negative 1.5. Okay, it's 0. So that is negative 3. Yeah, that's pretty good. Negative 3.1. Negative 3.2. Okay. Close enough. Okay. And then we're just going to put it here. We're going to get it wide out like this. Here to there. And then we're going to bring this guy in. And again, we're just going to drag him out so he's about right there. We're going to correct for the X position. Generate here. And because again, this is a bit wider, we have to actually raise this to about 2, I think. Well, maybe 1. Let's see, 1. It's not exactly an engine that somebody's going to stick. No, it's 0.5. There we go. 0.5 worked. Okay, cool. Want to make sure it gets to the edge there. Try that mesh. Okay, so getting rid of little errors here. We can say that's 2. Apparently 2.1. Nope. And this is where we'll go back to this pipe here. And we'll just extend it out a little bit so it's not touching. Generate the mesh. And then we'll grab, no, we don't want this retainer here. We got retainer here, got retainer here. So this one here we want to move down. And this is going to be negative 4.75. Yay, I'm doing pretty good at this. And this is negative 4.8, and then negative 4.85. Okay. And again, here we're doing something very similar. We're just trying to make this go out. And we'll just lift that up a bit. There we go. Drop this part down a bit. We'll put that here. And yeah, we're just basically rebuilding this bottom engine section that we want to do here. But the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to make it disappear in a second, and then have it where you can toggle it. And that toggle, if somebody, Cedric, could go find out the different NK44 values are, we can actually apply those. I think we said, was it 0.25? I think we said 0.25. Ooh, no, point. We have to go a little bit bigger here. And we're going to go 0.75 maybe. And we're just trying, no, we have to go 1. Okay. We're just trying to make sure that it doesn't get covered. And then we're going to drag that all the way out to here. Close to the bottom there. Okay. There. And then the top here, we're just going to bring it down a little bit because we don't need that far out. And we're just making some minor little corrections here to make sure everything is as good as it can get. That's pretty good. And then we'll just make a little adjustment here because it's easier to make the adjustment on this guy. There we go. And generate mesh. Super. Okay, so we have this lower one here, and I want to take this cooling line 2 here, and I'm going to bump him up to 4 because he needs to be above everything. Perfect. Now, this retainer, I think it's 2. Yeah, so when this is where we need to do a bit of math. It's not the end of the world, but I want to move this guy when we add the larger nozzle because either he's going to be there or not. So two options, I can move him or I can have him where it's hidden. So I'm going to do this and actually go with the hidden option just because it's a little bit easier. And we're going to go here. So I said the other one was that, so we're going to go negative 4.9, and this is going to be negative 5. There we go. And then we know this one here is 2.5. And we're going to go, say, 2.56. And this one here is going to be 2.5. I'll make them both 2.5. Okay. And yeah, the bottom retainer is a bit too close, I think, based on the drawing. Oh yeah, it's way too close. So we'll move that. But we're going to put that retainer here. And it's got to be, I think we said 2. Generate the mesh. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this one here is a bit too close. Where are we here? There we go. So we're going to make him, instead of that, we're going to say just 4. How's that? 4 works better, yeah. Okay, so 410, and then 415, or 425, I think is what we wanted. Generate the mesh. And then we're just going to drag these in a bit because they're too far now. Oh. As we build this, it's kind of a hidden super engine in the smaller engine. There we go. Does that work? That works. Okay. And then we're going to grab this line here, remove, whoops, don't break things. There we go. And I kind of want to keep it in the same spot, so we're going to do that. And then we'll grab this guy here, and we'll bring him up here. Slightly different angle, but that's okay. And there we go. And we'll generate that mesh. There you go. And so there we go. So now what we need to do is we need to actually build a new empty, put the empty outside here, and we're going to call this one here super. Or we can call it the 40 NK 44 activator. Okay, so this is going to have a move module in it. Move module like so. And it's going to have it here. So we need 2 more variables. We'll create this and create this, and we'll call this N44 deploy. Whoops. Underscore deploy and N44 state. There we go. And state we want it set to 0 if I've done this correctly. And we're just deploy this one state, and then we're going to add in the active components, and we're going to say this one here is the N44 nozzle. So we're going to put that like this. So when it's 0, apply animation, it's gone. When it's set to 1, that's great. And in order to do that, we also want to add in here an inactive, and we're going to pick the retainer 2 because it's no longer going to be there. So we're going to go here, we're going to call it active, we're going to pick retainer 2. There we go. We're going to make that like this so that when this engine is here, boom, that retainer is gone. And it's at this point I realize the 2 engines don't match. Why is that? Metal 4 flat faces. Okay. Height 2. Okay. And this one here is metal 4. Oh, flat, smooth, not flat faces. Those should match. Why is it not matching? Oh, 2. There we go. That should match. Huh. All right, that's interesting. Let's see why. Oh, depth multiplier. No. Hmm. All right, so why do not these not match up? They should be the same color. So I just go here to basic and I switch this to white. Okay, generate the mesh. The width mode is standard. Generate the mesh. Why? Oh, that's why. Yeah, basic here. And we're going to switch this to metal 4. Okay. And we're going to switch this to flat. Flat, smooth 4. Okay. That should work. Does that look better? Almost does. Change this to flat, smooth 4. Well, there we go. Standard. Okay. There we go. So that's pretty good, but it does angle slightly. So, all right. And then we have the flame holder, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's there. Now the flame holder is in the wrong spot, so we have to move that. So we're going to say position. And we know that the X position is going to be 0, 0 because we're not moving it sideways. It's only going to move up and down. 0, like so. And we need to get the actual first number, which was negative 0.96. Copy like that. Okay. And we're going to go in here and we're going to go like this and say edit, dump that down there. And then it's going to probably go to edit key on put 96 here. Negative 4.96 is what I'm thinking it'll do. If I go like that, oh, shoot. Flame holder. Apply the animation. It moves the flame down, which is great. Only problem with that is then the flame itself isn't the right size. So we're actually going to create an empty parent, and we're just going to call this the NK44 size adjuster. Okay, and in this we're going to figure out here by going to the NK44 size adjuster, and we're going to go here, spread it out so it's bigger. And here we're going to go, oh no, don't do that. 1 second. No, what happened? Don't want to do that. 1. Oh, shoot. It's 0, 0. Okay, hang on. So this is the fun part when you're trying to do this. I need to make this. So I'm going to take the flame out for a second. So the flame holder adjuster needs to move to here. So, oops. All right, 1 second. So flame adjuster is going to be at 5, right? Yes. And then the flame holder is going to go in the size adjuster. And then if I adjust the size adjuster, it's still doing something weird. Oh, 0. Nope, that's not doing what I want at all. Hmm, that's not good. All right, well, 1, 5. If I make the flame holder bigger, that does it. But then I don't want to override the flame holder thing. Do that. There we go. That's right. Okay. I think that's right. Let's see here. We're going to switch this back to 0. Apply animation. And it's in the wrong. Okay. Okay. Where should it be? Point 2.4. 5. Okay, so 2.35. Okay, so this is what we're going to do here. We go this one here. We're going to edit this key 2.35. Okay, so it's there. And we need to do scaling on the N40K44 size adjuster. There we go. And we're going to go here and we're going to go flat. And we're going to go flat. And the reason we're doing that is because I'm going to grab the numbers here. 1.73. No, that's too wide. Oh, it's not. 5. Okay, and then we're say 1.25. Okay. But this goes back to 1. What's okay? We'll get this. This is the complicated stuff of making this stuff work. So 1.75, and then here we said edit 1.5. I think it was 1.5. If we apply that, okay. So we're going to move the flame holder a bit more, and the flame holder is going to move back to probably 0. No, not 0. Negative, sorry, just 3. Okay. Yeah, this is the complicated funness of this all. Oops. Here. This is what happens when you put a whole bunch of things together. It can end up being a bit crazy. So there we go. We're going to apply it. So that's the engine there. And then if we go 1 and we apply it, the flame disappears. Does the flame disappear? Oh no, the flame's there. I haven't corrected for the flame on this end now. Okay, so the flame here is going to come all the way back down to here, and it's going to be 0. Okay, so we're going to go to our activator here. We're going to find the position of the flame here, and we're going to edit this here to be 0. So that means if I press this, there we go, and if I press 0, there we go. So we have the small engine, and now we have a bigger engine inside the small engine, like so. Okay, so other than I want to kind of put something here as sort of a bridge, or should we just toggle the retainer? We could toggle the retainer. Let's not toggle the retainer. I know it looked a little bit cooler, but I don't like having that gap. Okay, so now you might be thinking, cool, I just made a small engine into a big engine, but there's a couple problems with this. First problem being that I just made this bigger engine and the specs are still the small engine. Like, they haven't changed at all. Spec wise, they're still what they are. And in addition to it, the engine's still the same size, same weight, and obviously the center of mass hasn't changed. So we can actually move the center of mass within the move module. This is why I was saying this is going to get kind of advanced because we can actually go here and it's called center of mass. And here again, we can just go like this, edit the 0 and add it 0 because again, we're not moving the center of mass left and right. And then here we can go here, and it was originally at negative 1.75, and because the engine's now I think it was 5 meters we said, we can double check our drawing here. Yeah, 5 meters. So we can actually go here and we can actually move the center of mass on the engine. So that's going to be negative 2.5. Okay, so now the engine maintains a center of mass. It's going to move from up here. It's going to move down to about right there. Cool, right? I think that's pretty cool. The next thing we're going to do is, because I have this N44 deploy and N44 state, and I can just set this to 0 again. While we're doing this, I actually can now adjust the parameters by multiplying that variable. And that's why you have these variables. You can really do some funky things. I have some very, very funky things I've done. But we do need to figure out what the stats are for the N44 and then basically make a correction for them off the N33. So we're going to go NK44. Hi, Logan. Welcome to the stream. And I need N44 engine. And hopefully we get the specs. Do we get the specs? Engine specs. Come on, engine specs. Engine specs. Why is this so hard to find the engine specs? Usually I Google this and it just kicks it out and it's like, here you go. Come on. Is N44 some weird like experimental engine that I didn't realize? And I have to go and search for the data. New Russian geared turbofan. What is? Oh jeez. Nope. This is gonna be fun. All right. So NK43. It's not 44. It's 43. Whoopsies. Okay. So 43. There we go. We're gonna call it 43 here. 43. I'm wondering if somebody in the chat found out that it's like, dude, you're calling it the wrong engine. And then I need to go and change the variable. But in order to change the variable, I actually have to first remove it or it'll get very, very angry. Okay. N43. Okay, that explains why we're having. I guess it's NK43. Let's NK43, NK43. Okay. I'm going to go back here to the activator. We're going to add it back in. All right. Okay, there we go. So we have the NK33, and now we're going to get the stats for the NK43, and we're going to hide the NK43 as an upgrade to the NK33. Why are we doing this? I still don't know, but I said I was going to do something advanced, and this is the advanced portion. This is a little cuckoo crazy. So we're going to search and see if we can get 43 specs. Come on. All right, let's see what we got here. Because I just need those specs, and then I'm going to adjust the NK33 specs to become the NK44. So I just need to put in a multiplication factor. And this is going to go and slowly load up. A very slow loading. Very slow. That is a picture. And we just waited for a picture to load, and it's not even the right one. Awesome. Can we get here? Let's see. And while this is happening, I am going to quickly check and see if there were any stats left on here on my other screen. Nope. Okay. And this might be from a game. I don't know what this is. No, open cycle engines, closed cycle engines. Shoot. NK 43. Doesn't even. Okay, there we go. Haha. We've got some stats. We've got some stats. We can use this. Okay. So we're going to take the 1,750, whoops, 57 kilonewtons. Actually, you know what? We're going to open up Excel. This is an Excel experience. Open up Excel. And we're going to open up the shipped assistant. And we're just going to go scroll down here. And we're going to type in the numbers. Where are we here? Right here. Okay. So I don't remember what the other numbers were, but that's fine. And I just lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. So we said that the thrust was 1,757. Okay. And the ISP is equal to 346 multiplied, divided by 1.5 because we're in Spaceflight Simulator. We'll figure out what the weight is. And then this was what calculation? This divided by 9.81. And that gives us 179. Okay, so we're going to go with 100, let's say 180 and 231. No, 179, 231. Okay. So we're going to hide this and we're going to go over here. We might pull it up a bit. So we're going to look at the NK33, and the NK33 has 217. All right. Yeah, this is a very mathy portion of the show. So if you don't like math, too bad. Okay, so 168, and what did we say over here was 217. So we don't get a huge boost out of it. And we know it's going to have to weigh more because it was 2.5 for the NK33, the NK43. I'm assuming we're going to have to add at least a half a ton onto that for the extra nozzles port. So I'm going to say 3. And there we go. And then we don't need this number. These are automatically calculated if I just copy, paste, oops, paste, paste. No, that's going to be upset because that number's not correct. Okay. Yep, I backwards that one up badly. Okay, NK-33, and that means that what I do, I need to make this 3 and I make this 2.5. There we go. So these are the engines. So they're able to do a little different in terms of how they perform. And I think we said this was going to be 231, and then this was just going to 79 just to make it evener. So it gives us a little bit of a performance boost, not a huge one, but that's okay. So now we just need to find a multiplier because basically I can't just say switch the numbers. I do have to say a multiplier. So I have to come up with something. So I'm just going to do it like this. Minus this. So, oops, the other way around. This minus that. Okay. So I need to add 11 and I need to add 14. Okay. And then I have to add just 0.5 here. So, okay. So that's what the changes I need to make are. Okay. So in thrust, I have to add 11. So I'm going to go here, thrust plus NK, what's this thing called? State. There we go. And we're going to go here. I'm going to go plus NK for state times 11. Here we're going to go plus NK for state times 14. And over here we're going to go plus NK for state times 0.5. And that should allow us to multiply the engine, except for the mass. Okay, so there's a way around this. Because the mass can't be changed there, we're actually going to go up here to where it says mass, and we're going to do it here. times 0.4 or 0.5. And that'll actually give us the raw mass. It'll still say NK353 engine. We can't really change the name on the display name, but there's how we can get it to go. So theoretically now we're going to rebuild this engine and hopefully not crash Spaceflight Simulator with all these changes. Except for I need to make one final... I made one mistake. I needed to actually add the toggle into the engine, similar to how we did the toggle with the shroud. So give us 1 second here to fix this up, and we'll add it in so we have the vacuum variant into this thing. So we're going to go back to the activator. We're going to add this component. We're going to say toggle, toggle module. We're going to say NK43 vacuum. And we're going to pick this actual activator here as the toggle. We're going to apply the animation so that it goes back to the original small engine. And then at the very top, we're just going to say NK43/43, and we're saying use by engine with vacuum variant. Vacuum variant. All right, so we're going to build this mod here. We're going to hit cancel. It's going to build it in the background. I'm going to check the chats and say, hi, everybody who's watching. Let me know if you have any questions. To Spaceflight 001, can I expand the utility pack mod? So the utility pack mod is in soft release. It's actually V4 right now, version 4. A couple people have found a couple little errors that I'm fixing up, but basically it now has something like 32 or 33 items in it. So that is relatively recent. I'm just trying to fix up the pack to be a little bit more stable, because with the update that they did in the beta, it kind of caused a few little issues. So I've been working them through. But yes, the utility pack has been improved. You can grab it today, version 4.1, I think it is. Version 4.2 will be coming out probably tomorrow, which is just going to fix a couple little issues that people ran into. Nothing game breaking per se, but yeah, just little changes. And this is the wrong exit. Main menu, play. We're going to go back here to Space Industries, build a new rocket. And our rocket's down here. So here we go. So if I click on it, is it going to let me click on it? I'm going to delete it, see if I can actually put it out. It may be crashing. Let's see. No, it's not happy. I can't click on it. Oh, I did. There we go. So I can add the vacuum and I can add the shroud, but it's very iffy. So I think I need to probably go in and fix a few things, but we're going to launch anyway. And yeah, when this happens, it says the engine is not happy. We're going to revert to build, and we're going to see why it's not happy. And I have a very strong suspicion why it could not be happy. And here it is. Thrust 0, mass 0, efficiency 0. So I guess what I did didn't actually work, and it zeroed everything out, which of course in Spaceflight 0, when things go to 0, bad things happen. So this didn't work. Why did this not work? Because I've had this work on other things. So let's see here. We're going to go to utilities. We're going to go over here to the anchor. I think the anchor here, yeah. And it just said state times 10,000, and that worked. Oh, I use state, not state target. All right. That should work. Maybe it doesn't like the underscore. All right, well, we can always try. We're going to try a quick fix on this. If it doesn't work, we're going to have to... Oh, yeah, that'll also break things. We're just gonna go back here and just make it a little bit shorter. N43D, deploy, and N43 or 40. Come on, 3S for state. 43. There we go. We're going to go back here to the activator. We're going to throw state in the top. No. Deploy in the top. State in the bottom. Okay. We're then going to go back to the engine and we're going to just make it the shorter thing. So 43 state. I keep saying 2. State. I want the state. Okay, we're going to go here and we're going to go doop. And I think it's actually the state I want. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that fixes it. All right, we're going to give this a shot. And then if this works, we're going to be yay. If it doesn't work, well, then I'm going to have to play around with it because obviously I want this thing to go. Will there be more alpha testers? Yeah, so I've currently got one person I'm trying out for alpha testing. As they kind of expressed interest and asked the right kind of questions that you say, this person probably will give some quality feedback. I'm open to finding another tester. I'm hoping to get about 5. I think that's manageable. But becoming an alpha tester, basically you have to find errors in the pack, make suggestions. If you can figure out a better way of doing something, make that suggestion, and basically provide some decent value so that I don't have to spend hours and hours and hours testing out everything in the pack to make sure it works. Because, many hands make light work. And then I can focus on actually making new mods and not trying to find all the errors in my current one. All right, so we're going to come back here to this engine. I still don't think it's happy. No, it's still not happy. Still not happy. Okay, so apparently that's a problem. So we're going to have to figure that one out. There's ways around it. And the way around it is... Yeah, this is potentially breaking stuff. Would be to actually change how the engine and everything runs. Anyhow, let me think on this for a second here. Yeah, let's just try to make it without that. So I've taken those out, so hopefully they can do that. And we're gonna see if this works. If it doesn't work, I think that's probably where we're gonna call it quits anyway. But just gets you an idea of some of the craziness stuff that you can do. But yeah, I have to figure out how to do that because there's a way of doing it where you can change the values. I know this because I've done it in some other stuff, but for some reason it's not working tonight, and that might be because an update broke things. Yes, I blame updates for everything. That's what I do, and then I figure out how to solve the problem, which generally takes like a long time. So we're just gonna go here. Coming close to the end of this thing here, as we try to get this engine to work a little bit more and show that it actually will work with the extended. I keep hitting the wrong one. The update broke this one, so I should just delete it. There we go, done. Yeah, it has parts in it that the old update has that it won't let me run in the new update. Okay, so this seems to be happier now. Yay! All right, so I can turn the engine on and off. I can turn the shroud on and off. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. I don't know why those are doing that, but we're good. And it's in the ground. Well, there's a first for everything, but we can apparently lift it out of the ground, so not the absolute end of the world. So, and you can see here the engine doesn't completely move. Awesome. So this has a bag of crazy in it. I don't know why, but yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Um, but that's sort of the advanced thing, and yeah, I guess I just don't know why it's not doing what I want. I did make it the right way. Oh, I may have not put it in the nozzle. Yeah, that might be it. Okay, that might be. There might be a quick 2-minute fix to this. All right, engine activator. So if I close the nozzle, everything's in there except for the shroud. Why would that then not toggle with the nozzle? If I go here and I say 1, apply animation, the whole thing moves. And if I say -1, the whole thing moves. Very interesting. But yeah, so thanks for watching. I'm going to continue playing with this, and I will add it to the engine pack very soon. Again, if you're watching the replay and you're like, oh my god, what the heck did this guy just do? Feel free to ask me questions. But yeah, as you get more and more advanced, things start to not work as well. So definitely, if you are trying to make a very, very fancy engine, double check that you really want to make it, because it can take hours trying to solve problems. So there we go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Sunday. I'm looking at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Um, I'll probably be going through the utility pack update and sort of going through all the different parts and showing you what you cannot do, and that kind of stuff. So that's sort of what we got planned for that. And thank you very much for your time tonight. Thank you, and good night.